Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to unlock the fascinating world of language. We're doing that by looking closely at a really unique academic program.
That's right.
And for you listening, if you want to get up to speed on important topics, quickly and effectively, think of this as your kind of express route into understanding some really compelling stuff about language study.
Exactly. We've been digging into the details of this Linguistics and Bilingualism program at the University of Texas at El Paso, UTEP for short.
UTEP, right?
And what really jumps out immediately is its location. It's right there on the U.S. Mexico border.
Okay.
And that geographical spot, well, it really shapes how they approach language learning and investigation there. It's quite something.
Okay, so let's start there then. The location, it's not just a backdrop, is it? It sounds like it actively influences the program.
Oh, absolutely. Precisely. El Paso, you see, it's not just any city. It's this dynamic, multilingual hub. So the interaction between languages, between cultures, it's not theoretical. It's not just in textbooks.
Right.
It's the everyday reality for people living there. And this basically transforms the city into, well, they call it a living laboratory.
A living laboratory. I like that.
Yeah, for anyone serious about studying language, I mean, think about it. How often do you get to see linguistic theories just playing out on the street?
That is a powerful image. We can read studies all day long, but actually being in it, surrounded by that real-world ebb and flow of bilingualism,
Yeah.
that must offer insights you just can't get otherwise.
It really does. And the fact that, a large majority of people in El Paso are fluent in both English and Spanish, that creates this incredibly immersive learning environment. It's pretty special.
Yeah.
It's one thing to talk about, say, sociolinguistic concepts in a classroom.
Sure.
But it's completely different to actually see how language choice shifts depending on who's talking, the context, where they are.
Right.
You see the theories in action, everyday life.
Okay, so you've got this incredibly rich environment. That's the setting. What about the major itself, the linguistics and bilingualism major? What are the core things you actually study? What do students dive into?
Well, the program gives you a really solid foundation in the science of language.
Okay.
Students dig into theoretical linguistics. That includes key areas like phonology, which is basically the sound system of language.
Right.
Syntax, which is all about sentence structure, how we build sentences. And sociolinguistics. So looking at that complex relationship between language and society. And these aren't just, abstract ideas. They're fundamental to understanding how language actually works.
Right, so you're getting the structure, but also how it functions out in the real world in a community.
Exactly. And it goes further. The program specifically looks into second language acquisition, how we learn a new language, and child language development, how kids pick up a language. Plus, and this is super relevant in El Paso, the cognitive side of bilingualism.
Oh, the brain handles it.
Yeah, how our brains manage and use more than one language. And what's really cool is that students there can often observe these cognitive processes sort of happening around them just by being there.
That does sound incredibly comprehensive. And it was interesting the source mentioned that the specific structures and sounds of both English and Spanish are part of the curriculum. That seems vital, given where it is.
Oh, it is. Absolutely essential. And it's not just theoretical knowledge about the languages.
Okay.
The program really emphasizes practical applications too, especially for language teaching. So you're not just learning about language, you're also developing real skills in how to teach it effectively.
Now, thinking about listeners who might be planning beyond a bachelor's degree, you mentioned something about a fast-track MA option. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, that's a really smart setup for students who are already thinking about grad school.
Right.
The Fast Track program lets undergrads take, I think it's up to 15 credit hours of master's level courses.
Oh, wow.
And those credits count towards both their bachelor's degree and their future Master of Arts in bilingualism and applied linguistics. So it's a way to get a real head start, speed things up.
That's a great bridge, a real springboard into an advanced study.
Yeah.
And it seems like this isn't just for future linguists, right? The info packet highlighted that even a minor in this area could be really valuable for students in fields that seem, well, pretty different.
That's a really good point to bring up, yeah. A minor in linguistics and bilingualism can offer, maybe surprisingly, a real edge for students in, say, psychology, education, anthropology.
Huh. Even computer science.
Even computer science, yeah, and speech and hearing sciences too. I mean, think about it. Understanding the basics of language, how we acquire it, the complexities of bilingualism, that gives you a powerful lens.
Okay.
A lens to analyze human behavior, learning, culture, even things like AI and communication disorders. It can seriously boost their understanding in their main field and just make them more competitive out there.
Okay, that paints a good picture of the undergrad side. What about those wanting to go deeper? Maybe pursue the full MA in bilingualism and applied linguistics. Well, what's the focus at that level?
Right. So the master's program, it obviously goes much deeper into those core areas. You're looking at advanced topics in second language acquisition, the real nitty-gritty of bilingualism itself, and crucially, research methods. How to actually do research in these fields. There's a big emphasis on students doing original research. Often working closely with faculty who are, internationally known for their work. It's pretty impressive to see students actually contributing to what we know about language.
So it's not just about learning what's already known, it's about adding to it.
Yeah.
Actively contributing.
Exactly. That's the goal. The program's really designed to set graduates up for careers in areas like TESOL, that's teaching English to speakers of other languages,
Right.
or language teaching more broadly. And it also gives a strong foundation for people wanting to go on to doctoral studies.
PhD.
Yeah, they specifically mention you can continue with a PhD in psychology, focusing on bilingualism, language, and cognition. It shows that interdisciplinary strength again.
That connection between disciplines seems super valuable for tackling those really complex questions about language and the mind. And you mentioned TESOL. Is there a specific credential for that too, for teaching English?
Yes, exactly. Graduate students can also choose to earn a graduate certificate in teaching ESOL. So that provides really focused training and, a recognized qualification if that's the specific career path they're aiming for. It's a growing field.
Good to know. And if someone listening is thinking, okay, maybe this MA is for me, what about application deadlines?
Good question. For the MA in bilingualism and applied linguistics, they actually operate on a rolling basis.
Oh, okay.
Which means there isn't one single fixed deadline. It gives applicants more flexibility to apply when they're ready.
That's helpful. It really sounds like overall a very supportive environment, but also one driven by real expertise. The materials we looked at kept mentioning the faculty's reputation.
It does seem that way. They really emphasize fostering a supportive community.
Right.
Students work closely with these faculty members who have international recognition. And importantly, students get actively involved in the faculty's research projects. So they're getting invaluable hands-on experience right alongside top scholars. It's not just books, it's active discovery.
Okay, now for you, our listener, especially if you're keen on knowledge that translates into real-world value, let's talk skills.
Yeah.
The concrete skills graduates get from this program. Our sources listed 9 key marketable skills. Let's maybe unpack a few of the big ones.
Absolutely. Let's do it. One really fundamental area is analytical thinking and problem solving.
Okay.
Students are trained to really dissect language structure, from the smallest sounds, phonology, up to complex sentences, syntax.
Right. Yeah.
They learn to spot patterns, form hypotheses about how language is learned or how it changes, and critically evaluate different theories. It's about sharpening that analytical mind, but focused on language.
So it's not just learning about language, it's honing the skill of critical thinking, using language as the subject matter. Makes sense. Another big one highlighted was a deep understanding of bilingualism and multilingualism, which, given UTEP's location, seems obvious, but I guess it's more than just knowing 2 languages exist.
Oh, much more. Graduates get a really nuanced understanding of how complex bilingualism is, especially in that specific U.S. Mexico border context.
Okay.
They develop this ability to analyze and navigate bilingual communities, understanding all the, social factors, cultural influences. And this translates into practical skills, too. Knowing how to address the needs of bilingual individuals in different professional settings, education, healthcare, you name it. It's about grasping the cognitive and social reality of living with multiple languages.
That ability to navigate across languages and cultures sounds incredibly valuable today. Just, with how connected everything is. What about the skills for investigation, for finding things out?
Yeah, research and data analysis, that's central. Students get hands-on training in doing linguistic research, the whole process. Collecting language data, analyzing it, interpreting what it means, and then presenting those findings clearly. These are skills highly valued well beyond just academia, very transferable.
And it's not all just data crunching, is it? There's that crucial element of cross-cultural communication.
Exactly. The program really fosters an appreciation for how language shapes culture and reflects it too, especially in bilingual contexts.
Yeah.
So graduates learn to be effective cross-cultural communicators. They get better at mediating, navigating cultural differences. That's a skill that's just essential now, globally.
And for those maybe thinking about teaching or training, there's a focus on pedagogical skills too.
Yes, definitely. Students get a solid grasp of the main theories in second language acquisition.
Okay.
And importantly, how to apply those theories, how to design and deliver effective language teaching for different kinds of learners. They really get insights into the cognitive factors, social factors, even emotional factors in language learning.
And naturally, you need to be able to explain all this. So strong writing and communication skills must be another key result.
Oh, absolutely. The program works on both written and verbal communication. Graduates learn to articulate really complex linguistic ideas clearly in writing. And they also practice their verbal skills, presenting ideas and research to different audiences effectively.
It really sounds like this program equips students with a toolkit that's, well, remarkably versatile and highly relevant. Makes them adaptable for lots of different careers.
That really seems to be the core idea. Yeah. These marketable skills, they range from critical thinking and, global awareness, right down to practical professional readiness.
Right.
It makes graduates competitive for jobs in education, yes, but also research, translation, language policy work, speech-language pathology, and lots of other fields where truly understanding language and bilingualism is a huge plus. The focus on that dynamic mix of linguistics and bilingualism means they're just exceptionally well prepared for today's world, for that global, multilingual landscape.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into UTEP's Linguistics and Bilingualism program, what really stands out is, first, that unique border location. It provides this invaluable, real-world laboratory for studying language. You can't really replicate that.
No, you really can't.
And second, the program delivers this really comprehensive and practical set of skills. You get the theory, you get the application. And that makes graduates highly valuable across a whole spectrum of fields.
Absolutely. I mean, in a world that's just getting more and more interconnected, understanding language deeply, it's becoming more critical than ever. And this program seems to offer a really insightful, hands-on way to gain that understanding.
Yeah. And thinking about that, it sort of prompts a final question for you to consider, doesn't it? With this accelerating interconnectedness, how might a deeper, more profound understanding of language, of bilingualism, how might that actually fuel future innovation? Or foster collaboration across cultures in ways we haven't even really grasped yet? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.